We just had an awesome interview with Jennie Stone. She is an intuitive healer herself. She deals with chakras and card readings and energy healings. She is a facilitator, has traveled to different parts of the world to bring her medicine and her magic and to connect you with your inner being, your inner energy centers. So today we're diving in on the chakras. I can't wait for you guys to learn more. And here is Jennie.
Is just like, do we
I
have
just
to go ahead?
So I threw record on because what's interesting is like before I'll get into the podcast or whatever, like almost everybody when I just like throw something out there, they get into such good shit right at the beginning that I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I don't want to miss it. So I was like, when you started going, I'm like, I'm gonna record this when you're just kind of like thinking. So you're saying the mind, body, and soul is your like main connection.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's all of those pieces that fit together and you can't have one without the other. They all interplay together. And it's like saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to work on my womb and my fertility. Let me just pop my uterus out of my body and work on it right here. We
Yeah.
can't do that. There's all the systems above it and all the systems below it that interplay.
Yeah.
And we would be insane to think that, oh, it's just this. There's this holistic focus that happens, that there's more than just the body and the ovaries and the womb. There's more than just our mental focus and attention with the law of attraction. And there's more than just our spirit. There's the how they all play together is like my big, huge thing. And of course, my favorite system for working through that is the chakras. That was the
Mm.
system that brought me into that trinity of wholeness and wellness. So I'm excited to see what shows up.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that. And it's interesting because um like for people who are new to this and who don't even understand what the chakras are and like how this is my favorite part, you said this is my favorite part is working through the chakras. It is like maybe the first time somebody has ever even heard of that. Like you're talking about fertility and you're saying to me where I need to send my attention and focus is into chakras. So, can you explain to me what is that? What does that even mean? What does even working through the chakras mean? What are they? And talk to me about these energy centers in the body and how they could actually be not be fully utilized to their full potential if you're really not leading from that place.
Oh, okay. You may have to remind me of some of these questions.
Yeah.
So chakra in Sanskrit, or chakra, I've heard it both ways and why both are right and the other's wrong. But where Sanskrit is not a language that is currently spoken by any culture right now, it's kind of a tomato tomato. But chakra in Sanskrit means wheel or disc of energy. And in our body, we have seven main chakras that are connected to our seven major plexuses. The solar plexus is a really good one. It's right in our belly. That's actually named after the actual plexus. But the heart chakra connects to the heart and the lungs. The third eye connects to the outer eyes and the inner eye, the pineal gland, the throat, the mouth and ears. So there's all these physical organs and glands that are associated with this energy center. And every energy center has its own frequency, I guess you could say, its own characteristics, personality traits, if you will, and they all come together with the organs and gland. So solar plexus, for example, right here on my beautiful chakra goddess, is defined by this beautiful sun because fire is the element here, and our digestive fire, our digestive juices give us the power to go and do the things that we need to do. It's also how we digest and assimilate the food that we put in our body and go, ooh, I need this and I can use that. I don't need this, let go of that. And when we take in too much or we hold on too much, it can cause problems. We can become constipated. We can have diarrhea. There's two opposites that can happen here. And so learning on the energetic side of the solar plexus would be, how do we digest and assimilate life's experiences? How do I take in this experience that's happening and go, okay, I can use this and I can use this. This other stuff now, just let it go. Just release it.
Mhm.
And that's a healthy, balanced solar plexus system. In our digestive, actual functioning, being able to assimilate nutrients, and energetically being able to assimilate experiences.
Mm.
So every chakra is connected to different organs and glands that have a physical function and a mental, emotional, spiritual function as well to create that trifecta of wholeness and well-being.
I love that. I'm so grateful that you're pulling in both the physiology aspect, as for some people who have been stuck in the 3D, stuck in their sleeve only, and haven't really even considered the energetic body, the spirit being separate from it. We might have learned that, like, this is me, this body is me, this ego is me, right? And so this might be a completely new concept of being like, okay, how does this even play into like what I eat? And it's like, okay, well, if you're holding energy or if you're not even clear, you're blocked in your solar plexus, then you also might have troubles digesting food. And so, it's showing the energy behind the daily life things that we do to sustain life. And it's combining the worlds and creating a better understanding and that holistic view. So, Jennie, how comfortable are you with going through those energy centers? And as like those bottom three, our root, sacral, and our solar plexus are so important for us to be able to connect with the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. But to go through and talk about some emotional holding or like the tension, it's so interesting. I had this amazing massage yesterday and she was singing, like releasing from my body, like through song, as she was
Mm.
going through my energy centers. And before talking about my body, she said, what's happening in your body? I'm like, oh yeah, my neck is tight, and I got this big bruise hiking. This is so interesting. Because everything comes back to like energy, right? And our subconscious and our unmet needs. And so I slipped on a rock, like I was hiking the waterfall on my birthday. I slipped on a rock like this and I yoni blasted it. Yeah. So I had this huge bruise that radiates, goes all the way back. And so we started talking about the energetic centers. I'm like, there has to be a reason why on my birthday, I don't really ever fall. I don't really get injured often, but I yoni blasted a pointy rock and I have the entire bruise. So then we got into the energy center of the sacral and the throat. And obviously, the throat and the yoni are connected. That's why with breath, when we breathe with birth, it's relaxing the jaw. Yep, exactly. Yeah. So please, for the people who have not ever really considered this, let's talk about the different chakras as it is your favorite area. And I feel that direct correlation from our root to our sacral chakra, our intimacy, our connection, and then how it even carries up into our throat. So people, which interesting enough, who might have had a diagnosis of infertility might have led down the path and found how their hormones and their thyroid has played a part. So like when we think of hyper or hypothyroidism, how we're not actually speaking the truth. So the energetics behind that too. I would love to hear where you go with this.
Oh boy. Okay. So let's first talk about, so the chakras work two ways. There's an upward moving channel called the liberating channel.
Mhm.
Can we like pause for my dogs for a second? Can we
Yeah.
just like, hey, because I cannot focus. I'm like, ah, please. Okay, thank you. I don't even know where
Yeah.
they're barking. I'm the only one home.
Dogs.
Gotta love it. No, protect the castle.
Like my mother's in there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so chakras work in two channels, two pathways. There's the upward moving channel, which is the liberating channel, which is the pathway from the natural man, which is the earth, the root chakra, my physical body being, towards enlightenment bliss, which is the crown chakra connection to higher self, God, source, deity, whatever you call that. And then there's the downward moving channel that is the manifesting channel, where you go from inspiration, and you birth it out into the real world, into the physical reality. Now, each chakra has a different role in those channels, the up and down channel. But for the sake of today, we can talk about the liberating channel, because that is the path that most people are on in this planet. Like, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose for being here? What's my dharma? Where am I going? Those are like the main questions. And then once we get a good solid feeling of like, oh, I'm more than just this body and I am this body, then we can start working on the manifesting channel and creating the reality of our dreams, which is a really fun place to be. But the root chakra is down in the tailbone, the legs, and the feet. This is earth element, and this is connecting to our roots. Being here on the planet Earth, earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, fire my spirit. I am Earth. We are all beings of this planet. And this has to do with safety, security, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, if you don't have the survival basics, food, water, shelter, clothing, you're not going to want to get into creativity up in the sacral chakra. You just can't if you're struggling in survival. So there is an order of needs that happen within the chakras. So that root chakra is feelings of safety and security. It's safe for me to be here. It is safe for me to exist in this place. And when I bump into somebody in the grocery store, I don't have to apologize for existing. Oh, excuse me. Not, oh, I'm sorry, I exist. It's like, I'm here, but excuse me, we did bump into each other. The sacral chakra is in the hips. This is the womb, the reproductive organs. This is our sacred sensuality and sexuality and creativity. This is the womb. And whether you're male or female, we have this womb energy where we hold and nurture and grow our creations, whether it's an actual physical human or a piece of artwork like this beautiful artist behind me, or even, doing the dishes or cooking a delicious meal or taking care of your kids. Those are all beautiful things that we can nurture and grow and create. The sacral chakra is water element. It's all about fluid and flow, and it's learning to go with the current. Where the root is the masculine, it's the banks of the river, it's the boundaries, it's the borders, it's what holds you in and keeps you safe, so that feminine flow can happen in a way that feels safe instead of just flooding or rushing or becoming stagnant. Then we get to the solar plexus. This is all of our digestive organs, like we talked about earlier. This is our power center. It's our own inner light. It is our path. It's the do the things. It's go, go, go energy. And that's why the fuel, the food is our fuel. But also, what is our emotional, spiritual fuel? What's our dharma, our purpose for being here? Not just going and doing things and checking off lists because it's what people say to do. And I'm even going to encourage you, whatever Carley says, whatever I say, I encourage you to listen to your gut. What is it telling you? Because your gut may be guiding you in a different direction for your truth. Carley has found her truth. I have found my truth. And we're going to share those because they helped us in our way. And we share those in hopes that you can maybe find your truth. But don't just take whatever we say and be like, oh, this is how it is. Try it, experience it, and see how it works for you. That's the energy of the solar plexus, shining your light your way, not Carley's way and not my way or, Oprah's way or whatever, your way. So those are the bottom three. These are the earth chakras. They're all connected to the earth. So earth is obviously earth. Water is connected to earth, and fire is even connected to earth, but it's starting to move upwards. And then we step into the heart, and the heart governs the heart and the lungs. And this is that air, it's breath, it's life force energy, prana, chi, ki, reiki, whatever you want to call it. It is that place. It's the spirit, where the spirit exists, the arenda, the soul, your essence. And it is this home of love, and not intimate partner love. That's more in the sacral chakra with the sexual energy. This heart is also involved in that, just like you can't take out your, I'm going to work on my liver and take that out and not worry about anything else. Above and below all play and factor it. But this love in the heart chakra is the love of all things, the love of coffee, the love of dogs, even when they're barking, the love of a sunset, the love of my cozy bed when I'm sleeping. It's just love. And it is this beautiful sacred reciprocity. The hands are also involved in this heart chakra, the inside of the arms and hands, because we pull people into a hug here and embrace. And it is the sacred reciprocity where we inhale and we receive oxygen from the beautiful plant beings on Mother Earth. And then when we exhale, we give back carbon dioxide to the beautiful plant beings, where they breathe it in and then they exhale and breathe out oxygen. So this sacred reciprocity is this giving is receiving and receiving is giving. And when I'm in a place of love, like unconditional love of all beings, all things, when I give to you, I'm giving to me, because we are one. There is this sacred reciprocity. There's no scarcity. There's no lack. There is everything, everything and everything. So giving is receiving, sacred reciprocity, heart chakra, love. And then we move up into the throat. So the throat chakra is obviously in the throat. It's also the mouth and 2 ears.
Yeah.
And the tops of the shoulders and the backs of the hands. Because when we talk and we're animating, typically the backs of our hands are facing people and we're just so excited. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right. And when we're mad at somebody, we don't want to say anything. We, give them the finger, we let them know how it is. So the hands are involved in the throat chakra as well. But I find it fascinating that there's 2 ears and 1 mouth, because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak, right? So the throat chakra is all about expressing our truth in a kind and compassionate way, and listening, being able to open our ears to hear and filter what is true for us, and maybe even asking questions. What does that mean to you? Explain what you're saying here. I've never heard this perspective before. Can you expand on that a little bit more? This is really interesting. So the throat chakra is all about communication. And then the third eye, right up here, there's my, right there. So it houses your 2 physical eyes and your inner eye. So if you were to take an arrow straight through the center of your forehead and straight from the top of your brain down, where they meet in the center of your brain is your pineal gland, which actually has a cornea on it. You literally have a third eye in your brain. Did you know that?
I didn't think of it, but I do know what you're talking about, the shape. It does look just like an eye.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's so interesting. I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't like put the 2 together, but yeah, it's totally shaped.
Yeah, cone shaped. And the scientists have done studies on it that it does register light, but not like the light from the sun and light from, the lights that we see here. It registers that other light, that light that, like the aura that you can sometimes see around trees or other beings. Some people were born with the ability to still see auras, even chakras or other spirits that are around us. Everyone has this ability to see this. We've just been taught, oh, you're imaginary friends, or you just have a vivid imagination, which was me. I saw all sorts of beings and I could speak, and my parents were just like, wow, she's just so imaginative. And then, school was like, hey, you need to focus on this stuff. And I was like, but there's all of this stuff. and so I learned to, channel, shut it out. And only in the last couple of decades, I've been reawakening it and being able to see these auras and beings again, which is really, really exciting. This third eye is our ability to dream And not just at nighttime when we're sleeping, but like have dreams of what could be, what we want to work towards, the life and the world that we desire. And these desires are beautiful and divine, and you're meant to have them. You're meant to go after them. So it's also this ability to focus and connect to that inner knowing, that intuition. Not X tuition, not out tuition, not Carly's tuition, not, other people's, your intuition. And it's the home, they call it the home of the sixth sense, but I like to call it the first sense because it's kind of that connection to the world that we knew before we had form. We came to this body and we were like, oh my God, look, I can touch and I can put things in my mouth and I can taste them. And look at all of the pretty colors and shapes. And I can hear all these incredible sounds. And we got so carried away with all of our physical senses, that exist down here in these lower chakras, that we lost touch with these extra senses. And for every physical sense that we have, for sight, touch, sound, taste, and touch,
No.
there's an extra sense that goes with them. Being able to like feel spirits, feel that guidance, feel that love that surrounds you, those goosebumps that you get, or like the back of your hair when you're like, uh-oh, somebody's watching me. Right? Or being able to hear the whispers of your ancestors cheering you on, being able to see what is true and possible, even though your reality doesn't quite match up to it, but you can get there. Being able to speak these beautiful, visionary quests into reality, like, right, trying to take a dream and explain to somebody what your dream was like can be challenging. And so being able to express these higher visions and versions of you is really powerful. So all of those extra senses, I think it's the first sense, not the sixth sense, but that's just me. And then last but not least is the crown. This is the top of the head. This is our cognitive functioning. It is our brain, but it is also our connection to our mental health and the deity of our belief system, whatever that is for you. For me, God, universe, source, light, it's all the same. It's just different language, but it all means the same thing to me. It is this beautiful place of infinite possibilities, this place that existed before I came into this form and will exist once this form decides to lay down to rest for eternity, I guess. It's that place of what else is possible, that the mysteries of what happens when we die, where do we go? Do we reincarnate? Is that a thing? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? What is that? And there's no way, people all have their belief systems. And it's one of my favorite quotes is, all I know is that I don't. But it sure is fun to contemplate on them. Like, ooh, so if there is a heaven or a hell, then what about this? And or if there is reincarnation, I wonder about this and I wonder about that. And it's just being able to open the mind to all these possibilities so that you don't get stuck in a certain box or belief system that can eventually, at some point, like identities even, can hinder your progress moving forward because I am this. And now I kind of feel like this, but I've been saying I'm that. So if I do this, then I can't be that. But then who am I? And so it's being open to the possibilities that you are more than just what meets the eye. So that's a quick overview of the chakra system.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So, with that in mind, I thought of something. I have a question for you, and I know that you will have a really great answer for people who are like, okay, well, I have an open heart, or I can speak what's on my mind, or I can have these third visions. Does it happen in order, this activation? Am I able to access these in parts? Like, right, oh no, I see visions. It's like, oh no, it needs to be an awakening from the centers. Explain that.
Okay, this is a fantastic question. And there's a mixed belief system out there of all of the trainings and research and programs that I've been through. that there's some people that believe there is an order, that you have to go and you start at the root and then blah, 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 blah. I am not a fan of that belief because I think there's developmentally, there is a process that this happens, right? Conception to birth is the root chakra, and then 0 to 2 is the sacral chakra. And there's some emotional development that happens psychologically in order that way, all the way up until age. And again, the research is different between 18 and 21. You go from root to crown developmentally. And then after that, you kind of like, so let's say, you turn 18 and then you want to go on a mission and preach, your beliefs and philosophies or humanitarian work to the world. Well, you're staying up in the crown chakra there. Or you want to get settled and you want to get a job and you want to have a family. That's more root chakra energy. Or you want to get some higher education. You want to learn more about the world. That's some third eye. You want romance. You want to find a mate. That's sacral chakra. So there's different stages that we go through and we have choices. Always we have choices. And I think we also come, in my experience, I've noticed everyone comes with their strengths. I've always been a seer. I've always been able to see things other people haven't been able to see. Oh, that's Jennie and her wild imagination again, all of her imaginary friends. Well, now as a trained facilitator, I see spirits and I can be like, oh, I'm seeing this little girl about age 7 to 8, and she's got braids. And they're like, oh yeah, that was me when I was 7, and I was like, and they'll show me a picture and I'm like, that was her. So we all have these strengths that we came with. And then there's always this really beautiful awareness of, okay, how do I create flow? Because they do all work together simultaneously. It's like driving on a freeway. If you're headed northbound, whoop, up towards, Divine, and there's a traffic jam, you can't just jump over into the other lane of freeway because that's going the opposite direction. You're going to cause a massive problem. So sometimes there's blocks, sometimes there's debris, but eventually the road clears up, the traffic jam wanes, and you get there just on a different time frame than you thought you were going to. And there's definitely things you can do to help clean up and make it so it's easier to flow up and down, but it's a daily process. Life happens. Some things we have no control over. Like as a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, when I entered that world back in the 1900s, I really thought that if I knew the perfect diet to have and the perfect workout routine, I would have a perfect body, which meant I would have a perfect life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I got down to 16% body fat, which is Olympic athlete level body fat. But you guys, I was not having a cycle. My body was like, hold on, we don't have enough fat to support another life here. And I did not have a 6-pack and thigh gap, which in my brain meant perfect body, which equaled perfect life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was at this crossroads of like, what? I don't have a perfect body, but I can't lose any more weight because I don't have much more to lose, and I do want to have children. So how am I going to have a perfect life? And this is kind of what brought me to the chakras in the first place, because I went through this existential crisis of, well, if I can't have a perfect body, then am I just screwed for the rest of my life? I'm not going to have a happy life now. Growing up, my mom was always dieting. Her mom was always dieting. And there was just so much focus on the external being perfect. And that meant happiness. Well, I can't have that. So now what's happiness? Where do I find that? And I ended up getting pregnant and had my first child, and I got postpartum depression. And I just would not wish that on anyone. And at the time, I didn't know anything about chakras. I didn't know anything about mental health. My mom had been on antidepressants my whole life. So it was like, oh, okay, I guess it's my turn now. So I go to the doctor and they put me on antidepressants, and I hate them. And I continue going back, and we're trying different kinds of antidepressants. We're trying varying dosage levels. all of them make me feel fuzzy and numb. Sure, I'm not sad anymore, but I also don't feel happy. And Jennie's really happy. Jennie has a lot of energy. And I was like a walking zombie. I was like, okay, okay. So after the sixth or seventh antidepressant, I go in and this doctor, I'm like, these aren't working, sir. He goes, oh, well, let's try this. And he pinches my belly fat and he pinches my thigh fat and asks me one question. Do you have a lot of unfinished projects at your house? Well, yes, I do. You guys, I have a 6-month-old child. Of course, I still have some belly and thigh fat and unfinished projects. But I don't know what he's doing. He's the doctor, right? So I listened to him. He goes, oh, you have ADHD. Here's a methamphetamine. No, he did not say methamphetamine, but he's like, here's medicine for that. And so I go home and I'm taking it and I'm like, oh, I'm like on fire. And I am just getting so much stuff done. I'm losing all of this weight, but I'm also starting to have massive panic attacks every day, crippling on the couch, trying to breathe and just look around like, oh, what is happening right now? I'm okay. The baby's okay. The house is okay. Why can't I breathe? So back to the doctor for the checkup, and he's like, oh, that's anxiety. Here's Zoloft, or not Zoloft, Xanax. And I was like, at this point in time, I had heard some horror stories about Xanax. And little Jennie just didn't know how to speak up for herself because I'm not a doctor. He's trained. What do I know? And so I just took the prescription and smiled and said thanks. And as I walked out, I ripped it up and threw it away. And I went home, and this was the beginning of my whole journey. And I said, okay, God, I don't know how, but I'm willing to allow there's got to be another way because this is not working for me.
Wow.
And this is when I found yoga. And the whole yoga system talks about the chakras, and the poses are all specific to help open up the energy centers, both physically and energetically. And then the meditation part to get you prepared to sit in meditation to receive that inspiration. And it was so powerful. My very first yoga class, I'm a gymnast. I was a personal trainer. I'm a dancer. I played every sport possible. I was on all the teams that I could be on. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to rock this yoga class, right? Because when I Googled like how to naturally heal depression, ADHD, and anxiety, there was diet, exercise, and stress management. Now, as a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, I had the first two down. I was like, I got diet and exercise down. I'm good. What's this stress management you speak of? And so I Googled stress management techniques and yoga popped up and I was like, oh, that's two birds, one stone, because that's exercise and stress management. You gotta, get the biggest bang for your buck. So I found the local gym that taught yoga that had a daycare for my kid. And that first class, I was rocking it. I'm like, oh, I was even kicking the teacher's butt sometimes. I was like, this teacher can't touch her toes. Like, what the heck, like total ego. I didn't know what yoga was yet. Exercise, it's against everybody. There's competition. I can lift heavier. I can do more. So I'm just having a great time. My ego is so happy. My confidence is all boosted, which is really good for my mental health. And then we're laying in that corpse pose, Shavasana, and she's guiding us through meditation. And I lose my shit. I am sobbing, like chin quivering, tears pouring into my ears. I'm having to twist to let them pool out, drain so I can hear what she's saying. And every once in a while I'd peek. Like, is anybody else freaking out? Is this normal or am I weird? And everybody else looked like they were in bliss. So then there's the shame that kicks in, oh, how embarrassing. I'm freaking out. And I get up as soon as it's time to leave. I'm out of there. No eye contact. This is so embarrassing. Emotions in public. Oh my, gross. Right? This is me over 20 years ago. And I leave and I'm I am never coming back again. That was so embarrassing. But Jennie was back. that happy, fun, energetic, excited about life, Jennie was back. There was no depression. I had no problem focusing on the tasks I needed to focus on because everything felt great again. And anxiety, I think was this, product of the medicine. But so like after 3 days, I was like, okay, you've got to go back. Like swallow your pride. This is good for you. You have to go back. So I kept going back. And then the teacher eventually invited me to get certified. And in my certification courses, when I learned about the chakras. And up until that point, I had studied the body because, perfect body, perfect life, right? I had also done a lot of study in psychology because mind over matter, right? So like when you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to eat the salad, you want the ice cream instead, there's this mental aspect that you can work through. And so I done a lot of, the physical and the mental, and the chakras brought in the spiritual. It just brought all three of them together and my mind was blown. And I just went into that rabbit hole and I haven't come back. I mean, I even like tattooed them on my body and my whole office is like all chakra colors. But
That
it's
is so beautiful. What a wonderful, like, real story for people to relate to is like how often they're going to their medical doctor of medicine, where they're taught to prescribe medicine and not to listen to the things that were going on in your life that were causing this chaos, this dis-ease, but then for you to go and find it yourself and like to say like no to that, I'm going to find my own way of healing and to connect in that way, that is, it's through your own personal experience, which is why and how, when you talk about it, it is so heart led. It's so fueled, by this process that literally healed you from a state of complete, um, like stress, chaos, disease, really, ultimately. It's so beautiful. I've never heard this full story. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, it's just, it's one of those things, like you said, this heart led, it was like, hold on, this solution was so simple. And people think a pill is easy. And I'm not saying Western medicine is not valid. There is definitely a place and a time. My fiance would not be alive without Western medicine. He is an anomaly. But I don't think it should be a life sentence. I don't think it should be a cure-all. I think that I would love to work with hand in hand with medicine. And if you feel like you need an antidepressant, okay, let's jump on it for 6 months and let's work on your mental health. Let's work on some meditation. What else can we clean up and organize in your life? There's definitely some things that are happening in our world, and there's a place for both and not only this or only
Mm.
that. Medicine did not work for me. And so this did. And so I want to share that with everyone because this chakra system put healing back in my hands. I became empowered to
Mhm.
heal and work with myself instead of being at the mercy of other people and waiting for a diagnosis and waiting for a cure, waiting for anything. It was, okay, I'm going to connect to this body that
Mhm.
is my body, and I'm going to figure out how to learn to listen to it. And what is it trying to say to me? What does it want? What does it need? How does it want to move? What foods do fuel it? Not what diet, that is out there that everybody's saying, oh, this or that, because there's no one size fits all, and as a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, I was always like, okay, I'm going to put everybody on this plan. And then some bodies reacted amazing to it. And some bodies didn't budge at all. There was it was like, okay, I guess this isn't the one for you, but it worked for me and it worked for those guys. And so we kind of had to go back to the drawing board. And this is where that intuition, that gut instinct, that own inner knowing of, to thy own self be true. Knowing yourself is your superpower. It's
Mhm.
also your medicine that will heal you and
Mhm.
heal the world.
Yes. Yes, it's so beautiful. And it's so important. I want to highlight on the piece that you keep saying and then remind people and hearing it from a different voice, because it takes multiple times we hear things in different ways from different voices that it clicks and it resonates. But the part that I love that you keep saying is, let thyself be thy own medicine. Let your inner guide be the one to show you. Let you try on what fits for you. Let you do what's right for you. And it's a piece that it's like we are so used to conforming. We have been taught to conform and to be like me. I remember when I got pregnant with my first kid, I hadn't known about like tracking your menstrual cycles. I just thought periods were bad and yucky. And then, don't get pregnant until I wanted to get pregnant. And then I just expected to get pregnant, because I wanted to, not because I really fully understood what was even happening in my body. And so, um, but through that, where was I going with this? Oh, okay. Let them know thyself. So when you learn yourself, not I'm doing this because you say, because I remember even faking it on my doctor paperwork. This is how much I conformed. It's so funny, actually. So I had saw on Google that your period should be 28 days long. So then on every chart through my entire pregnancy of my first child, I put on every paper because I wanted to be normal that I had a cycle that was 28 days long. And it's not true. My cycles are 31 to 32 days long. Like I knew that like without actually like ever saying it, but I didn't want to say it because I thought if I say what's actually happening in my body, like I don't want them to say something's wrong with me. I'm healthy, I'm good, don't like. But I'm like, this is how misinformation and that conforming, like I was really good at conforming. I went to school. I was like, listened to all the rules. I was never late. I didn't skip days. I was taught for so long to conform. And the part that you're saying is don't do it because Carly says, don't do it because I say, do it because you're taking yourself into your inner guide, your inner truth, your inner knowing. And if you don't know how to find that yet, you can use some of these tools that we're talking about to find it. But they're just tools to help you find you. And it's like, you said it at least 10 times. And then I want to say, like, good job at repeating it. And I want to say it too, because you're so right. When we conform, we lose thyself. We don't even give ourselves a chance to learn yourself. And, like, even in your conforming and like you in your story, you said, I just did what they said. Like I just did. I was a good student and I just like did my thing. I did what you said because you're supposed to be the professional. And what was interesting is when you took your power back. So one of the pillars of this whole program is teaching women to empower themselves. And man, yeah, before you have this baby, right? Like you feel empowered. That way, when you speak, you're speaking your truth. And when you say no to something, it's because you know it doesn't feel right inside of you. It doesn't feel right inside of me to take this pill every single day for the rest of my life. And you didn't even ask me any questions about myself. Like, we walked in, I sat in line, I sat in the waiting room for this long, and then I sat here to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a year. You asked me a question, it was 5 minutes long. I feel like I know my body better than you, but you're telling me that there's something wrong with my body and I don't feel like it's right? And so that it's, I have my own personal experiences through birth like that. I have my own personal experiences where it wasn't until I was like, learn myself and move from that place. And move from that place in the exercises that you choose and the foods that you desire. And now when I say the foods that you desire, I don't mean that means that we're gonna go and like YOLO, like treat yourself every single day. Like we've taken some of these things way out of context. Like treat yourself to Twinkies and Swiss cake rolls is definitely going to cause an issue with a hormonal imbalance and cause issues with too much estrogen in the body and totally whack up your system. But trust yourself in like this. I feel like eating more warm, comforting foods. Your menstruation is happening. You crave more of the irony foods. You need more of like the sodium and the heavier meats. Like listen to thyself in that way and get yourself clear in that way to trust that you are your own healer. And like Jennie said, we all have a special ability. We all have gifts. And her gift of being able to see outside of the colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, outside of the spectrum of that, her gift, she's strengthening it by tapping in to her gift more. It strengthens it more. And so it's amazing because when we uncover our gifts and when we speak out with them and we start to share them with the world, it actually, like a blade sharpening a blade, gets stronger. And I just appreciate you as a healer reminding everybody who's watching this that they are a healer too, because it is so fun to find that healer in you. And it doesn't look the same way. So the way Jennie heals, the way she taps into spirit isn't the same as how I see it. And it's all just a gift in our guides giving us different tools to live this life in our highest vibrancy. So we can both be cultivating what I think is just like heaven on earth. I think that all these gifts are given to us to bring heaven in earth so we could experience that in our physical form, heaven on earth, you know? And every one of us in combining gifts, man, when I met Jennie Stone and in a really incredible way, which is so divine, I have chills in my body just thinking of it. We were at this event and we were creating this idea of Arcadia. It was a place and my clairvoyance had just kind of kicked in. I had no idea what was going on. I was just normal. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing people and hearing things and like healing and I don't know what's going on. So my husband takes me to this event and the first thing they do is they say, breathe, breathe. And then they say, turn, lock eyes with someone. And Jennie was the woman that I got to lock eyes with. Yes. And it was insane because then I ended up finding out that like Jennie was a woman who not only did I like in a room of thousands of people, was she the first person I got to lock eyes on. And we just stared in a gaze for what, 10 minutes, Jennie? Which is just a silent gaze, just like staring at each other. And she was also the woman who I was going to be like meeting up with later that day for like some stuff she was hosting in her room. And I'm like, that was you in a text message and I'm like, how is it in the thousands of people that's here? And then not only that, but she is so much me, but she has much more the years and the experience and the wisdom. And so when she tells me stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, laughing because she is saying who I am in that same world. We've had such similar passing crossing, but what is beautiful is how real and truthful and grounded you are, while also feeling so completely unique and free to explore your gifts, but you also empower and bring this life of playfulness to other people to uncover theirs. And it's so fun to witness. Like, here's a drum. Let's try this. Let's try card reading. Let's do tarot. Let me look into your ancestors. Let's try some plant medicine. Let's try this. And there's no place that you won't go. There's no place that you won't go out of the sake of exploring and finding the deeper dive into yourself, into your own wholeness. And it's so, so wonderful and beautiful to witness that, Jennie. Thank you for being you. Truly, thank you for being you. it brings me like tears. Like I'm gonna start gushing because I absolutely love you. I love being around your presence, and I see how your light just inspires other people to find their light. They're like, well, I want that. So, you guys, this is Jennie, and she is incredible healer. She has her own workings, her own services. She's an online healer. She does events in person, in real life. She travels to do them. She just did an event in Bali. So she's on the road too. She has experience as in the fitness world, experience with nutrition, experience with the chakras, experience with ancestral reading, experiences connecting with other goddesses and different deities. Gosh, the stories that you have shared with me, Jennie, it's like you're just a wheelhouse of what I want to say openness. Just open consciousness. Like you're just that, like this open consciousness that's just receiving, and the way you deliver is so beautiful. It's so inspiring. It's so passion led. You can feel it when you speak. And so I want to leave everybody here with Jennie's contact information so she can, and or I'll let you lead into kind of like how to work with you. What does that look like, Jennie? Share about your website, your pages, anything where people could lean in. And if this has inspired them and they're like, I love this girl, I want more of her, they know how to find you.
Cool. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I receive all of the beautiful compliments that you gave. And
I,
I just have to say, in Arcadia, I was really struggling with like hydration. And one day she comes in the line, she's like, I brought you something. And she whips out a full, like 18-inch cucumber. And so the rest of the day, we're just both on cucumber. And now it's like my go-to. I take cucumbers everywhere I go because it's the best snack. It's so full of hydration, electrolytes, and minerals. It's so good. So thank you. But before I tap into how to work with me, I want to touch on real fast that whole like being normal, checking all the boxes, doing it right, so that you fit in. There's one of my favorite books that helped me understand this, and it's really powerful for your cycle too, is Come As You Are. Have you read that one,
I
Carley?
haven't. No.
Okay, so it's about women and our sexuality.
Ooh.
And in this book she talks about the bell curve in science and how when there's tests and studies done, there's always the average. Like your cycle, every average cycle for women is 27 to 29 days.
Yeah.
What's the bell curve? On this end, there's people that go 5 days. And on this end, there's people who go 30, 31 days.
Yeah.
Right? So but you're still on the curve. You're still there. That you're still normal.
Yeah.
And so that whole book it gives you permission to experience you as normal. Come as you are. Like it's a play on orgasming. But
Ah.
it's also like this, like you are normal. What you're going through is normal. And here's when you know it's not normal and you need to seek professional help. And it's just really beautiful, powerful, taking like reclaiming your sexuality, that because sometimes we don't look like those women on the porn screens that other people look at. It's like, but am I normal? When my boobs don't look like that, or my labia doesn't look like that, or and how normal you really are. And it really helps you get comfortable in your body, which is so like one of the most important things on your healing journey is embodiment. We are meant
Hmm.
to be in this body. We chose this body. We came to this body. And I personally believe that our higher self designed this body because it designed this body to fulfill the higher self's purpose for this life.
Hmm.
That's my personal belief, and it works for me. And so when you're not embodied, the spirit can't fulfill its purpose, its dharma, its destiny on this planet. And so you're kind of left being a nobody because you're just wandering around, looking at other people trying to be like somebody else. Well, that person already exists. You exist for a reason. let's figure that out with embodiment. And that comes with honoring and owning all parts of you. And all parts of you are amazing and perfect and whole and complete. And yes, you have a blueprint for divine health, like whole health and vitality. You may not be there yet, but don't beat yourself up, because you're on the exact journey you're supposed to be on to get there. And just the fact that you're here watching this, like, high five yourself, pat yourself on the back, because you're doing the work. You're doing the work, and it's enough because you are enough. So, like, be nice to yourself. You're all you got. Right? Like, okay, off my soapbox. So what it's like to work with me at jenniestone.com, and it's Jennie with an IE, not a Y. Jenniestone.com, I have what I call the Illuminated Insider Sanctuary. And it's essentially my life's work. All of my programs, my products, I've got meditations, yoga videos, I've got workbooks, goals, manifesting, all the things in there that I have done over my life. And every month there's new stuff coming out. So you can be part of the sanctuary and you get access to everything. Or you can go to my shop and you can just buy, oh, I just want to know the chakra manifesting, or I just want this one breath work, or I just want this one card reading. You can just a la carte, however you want. I also do soul activation sessions, is what I like to call them. And it's just pulling in that part of you that we have forgotten in a society exists, because we've been so concerned with the physical and making sure everything looks okay. But we are all sick inside because we're not connecting to that essential part of us that animates this life. And so I do soul activation sessions. I also do Reiki training and sound. I do drums, so I can train you in sound healing, sound therapy, ceremonies. Pretty much what I do is I help you be the best you that you can be. I help pull in your guides. I help you discover and explore what is your, extra sense that you've got that is strong, and how can we cultivate that and start to work on some of the other ones. And stop betraying yourself by trying to conform, by trying to fit in and be like everybody else. Darling, you weren't meant to be like everybody else. You came here with some magic and medicine, and the world needs it. First, when you become you, you heal a whole bunch of stuff within, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And then when you start being you in the world, that medicine just gets shared. You don't have to teach it on a platform like Carley and I are. Just being you is sharing your medicine. And when you deny yourself the permission to be you, you deny the rest of the world your magic and medicine. And we need it. We really, really need it. We need you. We need you to show up in the best way that you can. And that doesn't mean checklists. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect. That means the messy, it means the muck, it means the emotional, it means the dirty, and the dirt under the fingernails, and the spit up on the shirt. It means the chaotic hot mess, but I'm here. All of you is necessary. All of you, it is this holistic part of you. It's not denying the physical or trying to control the physical. It is learning to work with this beautiful, miraculous gift that you've been given. I mean, you're one in how many little spermies didn't make it? You know what I mean? But you did. You're a win. You became a winner with your existence. Just by being born, you win. Out of, I don't know, millions? How many spermies are there? Do you know, Carley?
I don't know how many. I think, I was just going to look that up as you're saying it. I think it's thousands, maybe it's millions. But what's interesting about that too is every time there's however many times they try. And then there's also how many sperm are actually in each of the loads. Then there's actually the releasing of the egg, and there's 3 to 5 eggs released every time. So you were choosing of that. And then only one of them matures. And so of the 300 that the woman is carrying, they might only ever decide to have 1 to 10 babies, And so you were one from the women, and then you were one of the thousands from it is a miraculous part that you're just here, that you're just a human being in this world. And I appreciate you saying that because it's the words you are enough as you are.
Mhm.
That's so confusing for so many people. They think I am only enough. And I actually believe this before I had a baby. Like
Yeah.
this is what led me into motherhood was, well, if I don't have kids, like, then what am I?
Mhm.
I kind of thought I had no purpose in my life. And I know that everything happens in divine timing for its own reason and for my own growth and healing. And I know that it's all purposeful and intentional. But if I could have had time to discover that in between when I decided, yep, I'm going to go ahead and do this because this is going to make me whole and complete, I would have learned that that's not true. And that me finding that whole and complete and centeredness was a journey of me going within, was a journey of me waking up this energetic body with me connecting to my soul, not just my body, not just being in good health, meaning, I have the muscles or I have the fitness or I have whatever, but to be connected to myself and to all of life on this planet and off and above. Just being so connected to everything and myself, ultimately myself. When I fell in love with myself, the game changed. I fell in love with everything and everyone all around me. But it took falling in love with myself to then show up as the mom I always wanted to be, as the wife I always wanted to be, as the friend I wanted to be, because I filled that void here. I filled that hole. So it's beyond self-confidence. It's beyond the ego showing, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm pretty. I put my makeup on. I do my hair. I do my jewelry. I do my nails. It's beyond that. It's take all of that away, take your accomplishments away, right? Take the challenge, the competition. You had me laughing when you're like, I did it better than the instructor because we were taught so many times in our female bodies
Mhm.
how to be males. Like competition is a really masculine event. And competition is also ultimately coming from a place of lack. And so what's interesting is even when I conceived my first child, it was still in a weird, weird way a competition. I got married first. I had the babe. I have the first boy. Like I wanted to check the damn boxes. And then I'm like, what the hell am I doing? It was so programmed into me that you get married, you get the baby, you do the thing. And, I don't think that our socials are helping with that and seeing, okay, well, they got their marriage. Okay, well, they got their baby. We started operating out of check boxes instead of, whoa, I am on my own inner journey. And if your fertility journey has taken you 1 month or it's taken you 10 years,
Mhm.
the whole purpose is it is a journey. And when we can actually step into ourselves every step of the journey, step in deeper to healing ourselves every step of the journey, and trust that everything is happening, the universe is supporting you, it's got your back, you're safe. Just like the birds and the bees are supported by everything in nature. They're not worrying about starving. They're not worrying about where to go tonight for shelter. They're just living. They just accept that they will find food. They just accept that they will find a companion. There's no searching. There's none of that. If we just could accept that we were fully held and received and give ourselves that love that exists in you, that you were born with, being fully complete, fully whole, fully perfect, fully enough, whatever it is, whatever the trigger word is that gives you that emotional response in your body that you're like, I don't like it when you say that. Stay there and repeat it. Yeah. That is you falling in love and finding and discovering yourself. And so there are so many ways to do that, like Jennie said, whether it's like you really like this conversation around the chakras, you're like, wow, that fired me up. I really want to know more about the chakras. Jump on JennieStone.com. Check out her chakra packages. If it's a card reading, maybe that's really easy for you to do. Of, oh, I could read a card first thing in the morning after I brush my teeth and get myself centered on that, pull my attention there, bring my focus there, right? Or if it's a chakra meditation, It's like, okay, I'm going to listen to this one. And the first time you meditate, it might not be good. Your mind would have went away 100 times during that meditation, and 10 minutes went by and you don't even know what was said. That's okay. Guess what? That means you're human. And it takes practice, just like jumping rope takes practice, just like riding a bike takes practice to train your mind, train the mind, to train the mind. So you obviously, Jennie, in all your years of experience, you're incredible teacher, and that sensitive, like wholesome, nurturing mother in you definitely comes out when you teach this. It's so lovely to be in your presence and just be here co-creating this space with you. You've given me chills and tears, and I'm so grateful for you being vulnerable and sharing, because it just blasts open my heart more for you and all of the people that have the gift of being able to work with you.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. It's such a beautiful thing. And if I may, one more thing.
Yeah.
As you were talking, the whole like this baby will make me whole. You know, I got married and that will make me whole. And then a baby will make me whole.
Yeah.
All of these external factors, it's codependency.
Mm-hmm.
It's really codependency. It's I'm not okay by myself, as myself, with myself. I need this thing outside of me to make me feel whole and complete. And it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic that's happening in our globally right now. People just can't live without, you know, even their phone. Like, oh my gosh, remember when our phones used to be on the wall all the time? Like we couldn't leave the house with them because they were on the wall, and the computers were on a desk, you know, and we just leave, and then we come home and oh, we missed a phone call, but you know, so when you can connect with self on this higher level and start to be okay with self and feel complete, whole, perfect as you are now, then the universe responds to that and helps bring more things that help remind you of how perfect, whole, and complete you are. But when you feel lack, when you feel fear, when you feel not enough, the universe keeps bringing more stuff to remind you of your lack and remind you that you should be scared and remind you that you're not enough. And so it's this catch-22, this paradox. And this is where, you know, meditation can really come in beautiful and handy, is realizing I'm all I got. And instead of trying to be like something or someone else that I'm not, and sure, this person is selling a program that worked for them, I'm going to try it and see how it works for me. And while I'm in there, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to adjust. I'm going to try new things. And it may not be my system. There may be another system out there for me, or I may have to be the one that comes up with the new system because all these other systems failed me. So I'm going to create a new one. But see how even that is a perfect journey, because you're still being true to you instead of self-sabotaging or self-betraying. It's like, well, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do my best and forget the rest and trust that it's enough because I'm enough. Whatever I do is enough because I am enough. And if I can leave you with an affirmation that really can help, is this: I love when I feel safe to be. Love when I feel safe to be. And then breathe and just be. I love when I feel safe to be. Right in this moment, it is safe for me to be. I'm here right now and it's safe. And if you're not safe, get safe. Right? But most of the time, our fight, flight, or freeze, or even fawn, the people pleasing, that a lot of psychology kind of leaves out, is that extra piece, that fawning piece. Even in, like, we think we're in danger all the time. We have been set up to be in this fight, flight, or freeze all the time. The news that's coming at us, the media that's coming at us, the separation of you're wrong and this is the right way. It puts us in this massive fight or flight. And it's like, no. Remember, it's safe for me to be. I'm right here. There's no danger. I am safe. I love when I feel safe. I love when I feel safe. And that will help. And I even touch my body here. And sometimes I'll even like pat my body. I love when I feel safe to be. My body. love when I feel safe to be. And it's that tangible, I'm here now, I'm here
Mhm.
now, and all that other shit isn't happening right now. It's in the head. It doesn't even exist. So like, okay. And I could keep going. So you just have to
Oh,
stop.
oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna bring you on for another one. I'd love to hear more in codependency, relationships, and or like today, I was like, what piece of your many tools in your tool bag are we gonna get into? And it was perfect. It like just diving into the chakras and just giving somebody a full understanding of one piece, like one complete understanding from like the body to the soul to the energetics of how it works, and like giving them a tangible step there. And so thank you for that. Thank you for giving them a direction of trying to connect with this area. And also, your goddess chakra in the background is a great visual for people to remember or use, imagining the different colors and light moving up your body and just tapping in, just slowing down and tapping in and imagining these centers, these wheelhouses with like opposing energies flowing inside of you, creating that energy, that purpose, that like when you don't have energy to get up and go and you're like, I don't know why. I just don't actually feel like anything. Activate, activate this energy inside of you, and you might find something new. You might find something new, a new way of being, a new way of acting, a new way of becoming that person that you want. And remembering that we have to change the patterns of the past. We have to change the mind, the thoughts, that programming, because otherwise we will continue to have that same result, right? So if we want a different result, we have to change. So try something new. Look inside of you. Try something new. Thank you, Jennie.
Love you.
I love you.